What's up, Vol Nation? Hey,
What's going
Andy.
on?
Hey, Josh. What's up? So we got a good show for you guys coming up. We'll be talking about Tennessee baseball. We'll be talking about a little bit of the PGA Championship and our felon friend Scotty Scheffler.
Misdemeanors, but it's okay.
We'll be getting into some rankings, like who we think the nicest and the nastiest fan bases in college football are. And the recent CBS poll came out with the coach rankings for the top 25 teams.
Garbage.
Yep. And we'll close out with NBA playoffs. A couple game sevens, game six coming up this weekend. So let's get into it, boys. I guess let's start with the baseballs. Josh, looks like we've picked up a series win versus South Carolina. One game left in the regular season. How are we feeling?
Yeah, man. I think that puts us at 9 straight SEC series wins. Tennessee. I was really worried last night that they were going to get it done, but it's almost like the bottom of the six is when we wake up, And Tennessee was down 3-0 for most of the game. Then we started getting some hits. We had that huge grand slam last night by Blake Burke to really put us the game out of reach. And that was the 11th grand slam of the season, which ties the all-time SEC record for grand slams in a single season. So Tennessee putting up numbers all over the place, breaking records. I mean, the number one team in the country, you can't expect anything less. We do finish up with the Gamecocks today, I think at 1 p.m. On SEC Network Plus. So got to go on the ESPN app and search down through there to find where the game is for the number one team in the country, which is maddening to me. I know we talked about it pregame or pre-show, pregame, whatever. Just how annoying it is to try to follow college baseball, especially when your team is the number one team in the country. It makes it, just a big pain in the ass to try to find like all the stats. And college baseball could do better, and I think it should do better because I think the college baseball landscape has changed to where there's a lot more interest in it. And I don't think that's just because Tennessee's really good that I think that. I just think, moreover, holistically in the country, like there's more eyes. I mean, anytime you generate 1 million views for a baseball game or any game, 1 million people watching a game, I think you shouldn't have to dig as deep to find any type of content on it. So, but that's why you come to Like Top Sports. We'll at least give you the solid content for Vols baseball. But yeah, man, back to the series. South Carolina, they're a formidable team. They're probably one of the more established programs in the SEC. So coming into this series, I was kind of concerned that, we might fall into a little bit of a lull looking forward to postseason. But we put the clamps down on them again last night after a huge performance on Thursday. So, looking forward to the SEC tournament. I don't know if we're going to take it as serious or we're just going to try to get arms rested for hosting our regionals and super regionals. But what do you think Tony V should do on that end, Andrew? If you're the manager for the Vols, are you going to go out there and try to win down in the SEC tournament, or are you kind of looking forward to the postseason when it really matters, like your regionals and super regionals, trying to get to the College World Series?
I think we talked about a similar thing with basketball tournaments. And then my stance still remains that, there's no proof that taking it easy in the conference tournaments just before the nationals actually results in any kind of a meaningful, advantage. Like you guys look at UConn, Purdue. It's just that good teams win, not so good teams with weaknesses falter. So I don't think. I get baseball is different with the starting pitcher rotations and stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's my biggest point on that. is the starting pitching, where I think, you got to preserve those arms a little bit more than you have like with other sports, right? I mean, we see in the NBA with like load management. We also see even in the NFL, like if you've already clinched the division, I think like the last 2 or 3 weeks of like if your favorite team has already clinched the division, it's like the most boring ass shit to watch because they don't play anybody. What do you think, Naveen? You think that's fair?
I think, yeah. And it's also very difficult, like what we were talking about before. It's also very difficult to watch this. Like you need SEC plus.
Yeah, you gotta run that $10 to good old ESPN every month to be able to watch the balls.
And like, I see other conferences kind of doing it a little bit better. Like I think it depends on your TV package, right? Like I think I was watching Big Ten Network, and they always have like their best ranked team for free on Big Ten Network. By that same logic, it should be that we're seeing, SEC baseball more, and Tennessee, Kentucky, those type of teams, LSU more for free. But somehow it's difficult to find. But I mean, answering the question of, can I look ahead to regionals or super regionals? I don't think that's the right approach to go. Maybe you don't start your ace.
Well, I'll put this to you though, Naveen.
Yeah.
Last time we went down there and wanted to win the SEC tournament, we got put out in the regionals by Notre Dame. And we were the number 1 team in the country, and I think we had 3 losses on the entire year. And it sent shockwaves throughout college baseball. Like we had no business losing to that Notre Dame team. Probably Tony's best team that he's had outside of the one that got canceled by COVID. So there is some data that might support resting those arms. I don't know. Like, okay, I'm with you. I think if there's a game to be played, there's a game to be won. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
so maybe save the aces a little bit.
Yeah, baseball is like a different beast, and I think we've even seen that. I know you guys probably follow Major League Baseball a little bit more than college, but you look at the type of schedule formatting and just the way the games are played, and when you factor in that baseball is so heavily reliant on good weather. If you get a weather delay, and then you're in one of those situations where you're in the 3rd inning. And they suspend play, and your first pitch was at 10 o'clock that night down in the SEC tournament, you might be playing at 4 a.m. And that happened to Tennessee a couple seasons ago. I think it was the same season where we lost to Notre Dame in that regional. And so maybe a little scar tissue for me on that, looking at maybe we should kind of maybe not give it our best shot in the SEC tournament and just get ready for the regionals and supers. But yeah, man, I'm kind of torn on this. So I guess we're kind of splitting hairs here. But I do really want to see Tennessee if they can win the tournament. But I think they've locked up the regular season. If they win today, I think regular season SEC champions, which to me, I think that's the one that matters. You look back at basketball, the regular season championship matters because it's more than just like we'll go win 4 games. It's your entire body of work. And yeah, man, I think the baseballs are looking good. And I looked at the odds the other day, and I think Tennessee has the best odds to win the College World Series.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, so you're suggesting an approach where we go to our SEC tournament with maybe not the ace and, our 3-4 pitchers to kind of, save our aces for the future. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I think so too, but I think there's also some fatigue that goes to the entire team. But I kind of like where you're going here with it, just because, outside of, last night we had that 7th and 8th inning explosion of offense. I think it would be good. Obviously, we roll some guys out there that does, just to kind of build some depth on our pitching. maybe not roll with our aces and tire out a lot of arms. Scenario based. I mean, if we're in the championship game, maybe throw an ace. You know what I mean? But try to help Tennessee stay on the right side of their offensive approach to where we're scoring more and hitting the ball better and just getting reps and sets, man. I think that's important on the offensive side of the ball, but I think there is a fatigue factor that comes in when back to my point about the weather. We've seen that play out not just for Tennessee but other teams in that tournament and other conferences where you're watching ESPN. You passed out watching the NBA finals, and we'll talk about that. You passed out watching that, then all of a sudden a conference tournament still on ESPN2 at 2 a.m. because of a rain delay. So there is a lot of factors that go into that, and then right after the conference tournament, you're right into that regional play, right? And the same thing can happen there too, right? So May and June weather, as we all know, is very, very chaotic. I mean, just look at all the storms and tornadoes that's been going on across the country, the Southeast, the Midwest, just everywhere. And that's, I would argue, probably where most of the best baseball is being played and where a lot of the tournaments are being hosted. So, I would say, situational based for the arms, but I think it might be good for our offense to keep kind of the mojo going. But, roll it out there. And I think we've all three kind of agreed to it to where, if there's a game to be played, there's a game to be won. And I think that's what Tennessee probably needs to do to kind of carry some momentum into the postseason.
Cool. I want to switch gears a little bit to the PGA Championship. Andy, could you summarize for our listeners like this whole Scottie Scheffler situation, if you know the details?
So I mean, it's not like I have the inside scoop, but from what I've read and what I've seen, it looks like there was a car accident early in the morning, just in front of the entrance to the country club, to the golf course. And
what state is it in, Andy? What state?
It's the coal mine state, which is
Kentucky.
Okay. As to Josh's saying, and I do think that the outcome from this is that the PGA Championship is not going to return to Valhalla anymore. They actually used to, from what I've read, they used to actually own some stake or maybe 100% of, which is why the tournament's been going there. But I think if I recall correctly, they just recently got rid of their, stakes. And then on top of that, events like this, like very, very sloppy, if you ask me. Again, like going back to logistics and all, like if you're having unmarked cops just kind of like blocking the roads and whatever, like as a player I'd feel the same way. I would probably think, oh, that's just the security maybe that's guiding the traffic and making sure that the players and the caddies can get in while they allow the patrons and the spectators to come in and park at the parking lot. So he tries to sort of go around them, and some brilliant Kentucky police officer who has a degree from University of Phoenix gets to
chill.
Go over there and makes the judgment that he must demonstrate power. I mean, like, I think what is crazy is how he tried to like grab him out through the window. And I feel like if I'm driving, no matter what you're yelling at, if you just grab my arm and you try to jerk it out, like, what did you think you're gonna grab this like 200-pound 6'4" guy like through the window? Like what did you think was gonna happen? And he's gonna freak out. I mean, like, I'm surprised that there was actually no accident based on what we described, and I hope we actually get to see the body cam. But it just seems like a big gigantic misunderstanding that the police could not just go back on what they've done. They could have just easily been like, oh, hey, okay, sorry, this was a mistake, and just dismiss the whole thing. But in a classic fashion, like, oh, this guy's going to jail and ain't nothing you can do about it. It's a classic Louisville Metro police. It's a tragedy that these guys are just in the national spotlight, like year after year. But here we are, and then I've heard him Scotty say like, oh, like once these guys actually figured out who I was, they started cracking jokes at me, like asking if I want the full jail experience with a sandwich and all that. It's just like, this just like tells me like, wow, like they realize they fucked up and they're all trying to like cuddle up to him like, hey, and then boom, like released like very, very quickly, right? Like it just like the whole thing seems like so stupid. I can't believe he just got out and just collected himself and when played the game. He's just had a baby too recently, right? So I'm sure he's like not been having sleep and stuff, and he's traveling, and this guy woke up at 5 a.m. to go to the course so he can get some shots up, drain some putts, and then boom, gets transported to jail. What a day. Very, very impressed that he still like remained very calm and collected, because it's all about the mental game really, and to go out there and do that, very impressive.
Yeah, for me, I think just quickly, like this is the ultimate time you can drop the line. Do you know who I am? Right? It's like a clear time where if these people knew who he was, even still, like there's a special like credential he had. He was driving a specific car that they're supposed to let into the event anyway. And it feels like this is like completely avoidable, but the timing of it is super funny. Like he goes like, 6 a.m. this happens, 8:30 ish. You find out from the tournament that like he's going to be released, and by 10 a.m. he's swinging, and by 2 p.m. he's of a 5 under. So it's like, oh shit, he's still like just fucking massacring this. It's the ultimate like mental hurdle trek of a day. So it's like crazy. Josh, your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I think what we can learn a lot about the whole situation with Scotty Scheffler is just like how impressive not only a golfer Scotty Scheffler is, but a man that Scotty Scheffler is, because he could have went about this a lot of different ways. And the way that he went about it, I mean, is the most commendable way I think that any of us could ever hope that we would be able to act or react to a situation like that. And I tell you, to all your points, Scotty found out that he still might be able to make his tee time. And then he started doing his stretching routine. I mean, just how disciplined that you have to be to think, man, I can really still go out there and potentially meet my tee time. But not, on top of that, not even just go out there and play, but the way that he was able to go out there and shoot a 66, shooting 5 under yesterday after all of that happened. I mean, I think it speaks volumes about him. And then the fact that, his only real reaction to it, and this is after they put him in the orange jumpsuit, did the mug shot, he did the perp walk. I mean, those cops were super aggressive with him. And I'm a big back to blue guy, right? I support our police, even the ones that graduate from the University of Phoenix and probably shouldn't be a detective. But, be that as it may, I would say, Scotty, his response on his social media was, it was very classy. It was, but it was very pointed in a way that he basically took responsibility for everything anyway. It's like, it was my bad. I thought though I was following the directions that I was given. And I'm deeply sorry that, any of this happened. But most importantly, my heart and prayers go out to the gentleman that lost his life. And to him, that was the most important thing. And I think when he ended his post on Instagram, he said that really puts life back into perspective. Right. So everything that everybody says about Scotty on the tour, all of his colleagues and his peers, to talk about the type of individual that he is, the class act that he is, and how everybody loves him. I think it speaks volumes about Scotty tenfold about how he handled it, and the fact that he didn't have to pull the "you know who I am" card, because he was stoic and disciplined enough to basically just face the reality of what was going on in his life yesterday morning, and he definitely just handled it like a real gentleman, and then went out there and absolutely hammered every single person. Except I think there was one guy that had minus 6. He shot better than everybody else except one person yesterday after all that happened. So with the culture that we live in America these days, and just the way we see the craziness go on in the world, I would say we could have learned a lot from how Scotty Scheffler handled that whole situation yesterday. But that's my thoughts on how it was handled. And I agree with you, Naveen, 100%. The PGA Championship should say, "Fuck Louisville, we're never going back there," and bring it somewhere else. Like that's my opinion. And again, shout out to the number one golfer in the world, Scotty Scheffler. He's number one for a reason, and I think he displayed it yesterday.
Cool. Any other thoughts on the tournament? Maybe
Scotty's gonna win this shit too, by the way.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts. He's gonna come out. He's gonna win this thing, man. Like if he was able to go out there and do what he did yesterday, yeah, man. We're gonna get peak Scotty. I think closing out the tournament, and I think he's gonna hoist the trophy.
Fun statistic I've read is that Scotty Scheffler has never won a tournament outside of March and April. So he gets super hot during those 2 months. All of his career wins have been in March and April. So this would be the time to sort of break out, of that. I don't want to say flunk, because he's obviously a great golfer, and golf is a sport where it's really hard to just place first, right? Even getting top 5 is a huge accomplishment, just generally speaking. But that being said, yeah, it'll be good for him to just get out of that February, March, April, because 2022, starting with the waste management, Arnold Palmer Masters, 2023 waste management players, Arnold Palmer, 2024 players Masters, RBC. So all these early season things, and I wonder if this could sort of give him that, I don't want to say boost, because it's not like he needed that mental help or anything like that, any motivation or whatever, but maybe it'll be cool to see him. Obviously, I'm sure all of the crowd is rooting for him. The clip of him walking out to Many Men was too funny.
Dude, he's such a baby face. If we want to look at it from a pro wrestling thing,
yeah.
The cops are totally the heels in this situation, and Scotty's a baby face. So yeah, man, I agree
Kentucky,
with you.
You gotta do logistics better, man. You can't screw up. It's like Naveen said, it's very easy. Players are all driving the vehicle provided by the course. It's clearly marked,
labeled,
credentials. Yeah. Also, what is an unmarked police doing at 5 a.m.? How are you supposed to know if you're just driving? Which car is policed or whatever? Turn your sirens on.
I think they all were responding to the gentleman that got killed. I think that was the whole thing. And
you can't tell me there's not a clearly marked police cars around that they could have done a better job, right? They could have clearly marked it. I'm
not defending police. I'm not defending anything that they did. I would say that there has been reports that Scotty drove through the actual accident scene. That is not the case. I went, I've done my research on this, because I've kind of transitioned to Scotty Scheffler being my favorite golfer, outside of Tiger Woods. Now that Tiger's kind of looking to the sunset, or probably definitely the back end of his career here, but yeah, man, after what doing the research and checking the facts, he wasn't even anywhere really near the whole accident scene. And to y'all's point, he was driving around in the median. I think we've all been guilty of that when we've been, and especially you guys being in New York and New Jersey. How many times have you guys been on the freeway? Some dumb shit is happened, whether it's a traffic accident, fender bender, road rage, trying to get off the exit, and then you guys, see the accident, just go around it. cops are there, and most of the time they're waving people through. So I think this was a big nothing burger, and we had some Paul Blart Mall cop just want to make a name for himself, and he kind of did it in the wrong way, and he definitely did it with the wrong guy.
Yeah, imagine if it was like imagine if it was like just some like a top 100 golfer or something that like not a lot of people are familiar with. It would have been news, but not as big as.
What if it had been Tony Finau?
Oh my God, let's not go there.
There would have been riots in the street if it had been Tony Finau.
Oh yeah,
guaranteed.
Yeah, right. So I think, I think we should see Scottie Scheffler win. Andy, is there some buckboard with Rory with his recent events? I think you wanted to mention that, right?
Yeah, I just thought it was funny because so he just filed for divorce.
Big D, baby.
And then went on to win the Wells Fargo, right, in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that's like the first time he's won an actual like tournament in a while. I mean, he won time. He won like a match play thing in April, but like in his own, like it's been like almost like year plus that he's actually won a tournament. And it's funny that it came out on the week that it got public that knowledge that the divorce was being finalized. And if you guys remember last time Rory broke off a marriage engagement was with the tennis player Caroline Wozniacki, and then he went on a heater, just winning the British Open, and then winning another tournament, and then straight into the PGA Championship, and also winning that at Valhalla. So I thought that was a funny coincidence, and was hoping to see if the curse was real for this guy. But that being said, should be a good tournament. It looks like the weather is kind of shitty, so we don't know when they're gonna resume. But generally speaking, at the leaderboard, there's a lot of people like just all within like
top.
A few strokes. Like it's Scheffler with 12 under, Morikawa 11 under,
your boy
DeChambeau, Scheffler 9 under, Hubbard.
The Beans boys up there too, huh?
Yeah.
DeChambeau.
Maybe Koepka 7 under.
DeChambeau.
Hideki 7 under, and then like Rory and all of those guys at 5 under, 6 under. So like in a condition like this, and everybody's been having like good days here. It doesn't seem like it's one of those courses that it's gonna be hard. Like everybody's scoring in the 60s, 65, 66, 67, 66. So no lead is safe in these types of conditions. Like if you go like 5 holes without getting a birdie, somebody might already taken the lead. So should be an exciting finish. And obviously with all the things that happened, on top of having a child, I think we all want to root for and hope that Scottie pulls through. But just hoping for an exciting finish.
I think we're gonna have that. Let me get a little bit of this Roy situation here real quick. Man, I think Roy he needs to do the smart thing and just stay away from the chicks. Kind of like we go back to our, Mickey and Rocky, right? What did Mick always tell Rocky? He would say, "Stay away from the women because it makes the legs weak." Well, I would say to Rory, he needs to stay away from the women because it makes his golf game real weak, right? So, man, he won Wells Fargo. Then he filed for divorce. He won it on Sunday, then filed for divorce on Monday. Now, I'm not here to to champion divorce by any stretch of the imagination. I love marriage. We talked about that last week. One of our buddies is about to get married in a couple months. Shout out to the Michigan man. But and I even brought up the ball and chain situation there, kind of in a joking way. But I think in Rory's situation, he really is. With a ball and chain, just dragging it around, and it's been dragging him down. But it looks like he got the keys, and uncuffed himself, probably like that cop should have did yesterday. Probably should have fucking uncuffed himself from the car. But here he is, playing great golf. And yeah, Roy, I like you, even though you are a non-American golfer, and I would cheer against you all the time in the Ryder Cup. But I can also support your decisions to kind of free yourself from the bondage that you were in, and entertain us with a lot better golf. So shout out to Rory. I hope she doesn't take half, because I doubt she was shooting with you, on the range, kind of like the when with me shooting in the gym. Shout out to Kobe and Ricky Rose on that one. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Andy, it sounds like you got something else. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, now that he filed, maybe that's why he's been holding out on going to live. He didn't want to get the 200 million and then boom, give away 100.
Exactly. And I'd also say that there's probably been some correlation that with his golf game, the fact that he filed for divorce, immediately after he won, he probably just said, "Oh, the hell with this crazy, lady, weeks ago," and then he really just, honed in on his golf game, and that's why he was able to take the Wells Fargo trophy back to the house last week. But either way, not to beat the dead horse on Rory's personal life here, but hey, man, shout out to you, bro. I'm happy for you. I don't know. I guess happy wife, happy life didn't equate, in the same way for Rory as it does for most other men. But, get it how you live, my dude. And maybe you'll keep cashing some checks down the road. Shout out to Rory. And hopefully, like you said, the weather holds and PGA Championship keeps going. And my boy Scotty can, hoist the trophy at the end. I know the Naveen, he really wants Bryson to win, but I'm sure he made some 3D clubs for this tournament too.
Yeah, he can make a 3D trophy because he's not going to get one, dude.
Nice.
Love it. I mean, I'm not the biggest golf guy, but yeah, I think the audience knows I'm not a DeChambeau guy. So go Scotty. Anybody else, doesn't matter. But yeah. All right, moving on. Next topic we got is a list. We've been doing like lists for three weeks or so now. This is one of the lists we got from the audience. Nicest, nastiest fan bases in college football. This can be like, personal experiences that you've faced, or just like the lore around certain fan bases. I guess, Josh, let's start with you. Like, I mean, you've been to a lot of games, SEC, non-SEC. Start us off with like some of your experiences. Like,
do you want my nicest, or you want my nastiest?
Let's go nicest first. So let's go positive first, and then go around the horn with that, and then we'll do negatives afterwards. So give me
I would say my nicest fans. Oof, man. Probably Vanderbilt fans. They're probably the nicest because they know what's about to happen to them. So, just from a Tennessee perspective, I mean, they'll talk a little bit of trash, but at the end of the day, they know Big Brother's coming to go, do Big Brother things to them. And there's not very many of them. So, you see them there in the bars or whatever, they'll drink a beer. And they're most of the time, they're going to ask you, what do you think about the other SEC games that are happening that day? Because they already know, like, the game that is about to happen between Tennessee and Vanderbilt is not going to be much of one. So, real docile, real chill. And most of them are Titans fans. So I could commiserate with them on some certain issues for the upcoming Sunday game for the NFL. But I would say, amongst all my travels, I would say the most docile fans, not maybe the friendliest, but definitely docile, would probably have to be Vanderbilt.
Andy, you got one?
My based on my personal experience, I think in person, I think it's Florida, and I would say because the 2 times that I've been to that stadium, just had a absolute blast. Even though the results might have not been what it is, there was a nice light trash talking, but like not like crossing the line. They were like chanting Georgia State at us and things like that, which is funny. But not like no like barking in your face or a
Don't
bunch
take
of
my thunder.
cursing. So I would say Florida was a nice, and also LSU. I've been to LSU Stadium twice now, and each time was greeted by a bunch of people, welcoming us to tailgate. Had
The
a great
dean.
time. Yeah, the shout out to the LSU College of Arts and the dean. Had a great time there. Amazing tailgate, one of the best that I've been to. In terms of the setup. So had a great time. So I'll pick Florida and LSU. For my personal experience.
Okay, I was gonna say LSU just because of the dean. So shout out to the dean. Really good setup, and also somehow Andy was able to like sign up and just get us all in like large group.
It was so
But
cool.
shout out
man.
Andy too. I just want to shout out Andy. That requires some hustling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was felt like a biggest
mad
promoter there. Just getting 12 guys in the party. That's not easy.
Yeah. And like bathroom inside super clean. Like there was like a mini museum there. Like all-time vibes of a tailgate.
They had hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah,
like we're catered hors d'oeuvres. Fucking
Bartender.
wine, beer,
bartender. Very very nice.
Just cash tips. Like that's it. Free booze. It was really nice. As far as an experience goes, I would say that's probably the nicest. I have encountered some dickhead LSU fans, over the years, but I would say I didn't encounter that many of them, to my trip to Baton Rouge, but I've been to plenty Tennessee LSU games in Knoxville, and I can tell you, it took a lot out of me to not want to get into some type of verbal or physical altercations with those fucking corn dog smelling ass motherfuckers, for sure.
Yeah. This isn't college football, but my other example was like, I've been to some like Ivy League basketball games, and they're like chill as fuck. I would say that those are like really good environment, similar to their Vandy. Like
they don't want to fuck up their cashmere vests they got on or whatever.
Yeah, like I know the vibe is good. They're talking about like world events. Their basketball team sucks, or their sporting event sucks in front of them. So it's like a nice environment. I would say that those are good. Princeton is good. Like met a bunch of like cool people there at a basketball game once, and they were actually a pretty decent basketball team for a little bit. So that was
yeah. They might not fuck you up during a sporting event, but if they're supporting Hamas, they'll definitely fuck you up.
Yeah, or they'll call their lawyer dad to fuck you up. Something like that.
They'll go pitch a tent and protest, Palestine and Israel. Yeah. They'll get crazy on that one. But anyway,
yeah. So that's been my experience at basketball. All right, so let's flip the coin. Nastiest fans. Josh, start us
I think I can speak for me and Andrew, because I think he knows exactly where I'm going to go with this. Those damn Georgia Bulldogs. They are the worst curmudgeons, the worst human beings on the planet. Grown ass men barking in your face, and all of their breath smells like their sister's breath because the bunch of inbreds down there. So, yeah, dude, like, and they have this stupid chant about nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Dude, like, I think I've heard that like a million times. I'm sure if a Georgia fan, sees this video or whatever, there's a lot of trolling material here. Yeah, we beat y'all's ass, whatever. Andy actually got to go to the last time Tennessee beat Georgia in Athens. I had to sit through the rain-soaked, couldn't do anything on offense 2022 game when we were ranked number 1 in the country, and I know I had to sell my spleen to afford a ticket to get in there. Shout out to them though for making it a very hostile. I mean, I've been to a lot of games at our place and opposing places. By far, that was one of the most impressive environments that I've been in. So I had to give credit where credit's due. I guess if I was on the opposite side of that coin, I'd be damn proud to be one of them drunk, obnoxious Georgia fans. But they made it hard for us, and they made it hard for Tennessee fans to get in that game. Back to my point of selling a vital organ to be able to get in there. But probably the most money that I had to spend on an away game ticket. I mean, it was number 1 versus number 2. That's a matchup you rarely get, especially with a in conference interdivision at the time opponent. But yeah, those people to me, all Georgia fans, like, y'all can go to hell.
Andy, same answer for you, Andy.
No, but I do agree that
okay.
I've had a mixed experience in Athens. I had a drunk, obnoxious fan barking in my ear the whole time and just talking shit, cursing. Which it felt great to just turn around and give him the "who let the dogs out" after the Hail Mary, but. Also, there were really nice ladies that were basically cursing him out, like that I sat next to. They're like, y'all drunk fucking assholes are ruining our reputation. Like, just shut the hell. Like,
no,
these
they're
like
not,
sick
man.
grandmas
Like, everybody knows. Everybody knows
but,
that's how they are, man.
Right, but like again, personal experience. I've had the drunk obnoxious, but I've also had like some of the nicest people that were like, are you doing okay? Hey, like and the ladies bought me beer. Like it was so like I want to give some shout out to the rational people. My personal worst, I think, is Ohio State. Ohio State, both in person as well as like when you see them online on Twitter or other forums and stuff. Always so cocky. Always like a very like victim mentality type of shit. And in person, like Naveen, you saw it. They were just raising hell the night before going through. And just really learned like Ohio, not the place to be. What was the phrase again? I forget. Ohio is crap. There was like a phrase that all the Michigan fans were saying. I forget what it was. But anyway, yeah, Ohio State fans by far. Oh yeah. Anyways, yeah, just like did not have a single great interaction. Like even the people that we were watching the game nearby, just gigantic assholes. At least like Georgia fans, I've had the nice and the nasty, but I feel like the Ohio State. I mean, granted, it's only a limited interaction of one game, and it is like. It happens to be also their probably, the most fierce rivalry. So, I can get why they're so hostile, but yeah, I gotta go with Ohio State. Also, just their fan base online, how they act so entitled and shit. So,
I would say Bama fans are pretty close. I've not personally been to Bama for an away game, but they are some pompous ass pricks when they come to Neyland. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the 2022 game when we won. And we got them at home this year, so I wonder if they're going to keep that same energy that they've had for the last 17 years that Saban was down there, or if it'll be like when I was growing up and even in my high school years, they just kind of walked around like that, real quiet because they knew the reckoning that was about to come down on them. So I think at one point we won like 10 out of 9 against them before Saban got there. So now that Kellen's there, we'll probably see the inverse of that. But to my point about the Georgia game and to your points about the Ohio State, and then Naveen, we'll get your take. Man, I think that's real time. Like you want to talk about being a college football fan, man. You're really putting yourself in the arena, you know? Like you're that's what you're asking for, right? Like when you sign up to be a degenerate college football fan, going to those away games and getting every ounce of vitriol that you can get from the opposing team's fans, I think that's what you signed up for. Would you
Oh,
agree
yeah.
with that, Naveen?
Yeah, I think there's two things. One is when you go to the away game, it's your responsibility to rep Tennessee, and just kind of survive and also give some
Survive in
feedback
advance.
to,
Yeah.
to what's happening. But on the flip side of things, right? I think it's also your responsibility to be a good host. When the other team comes to you, and not always be the biggest asshole, right? I think Andy has experience with that with the ladies of Georgia, so that's a good feeling. I would also say that when we went to Florida, it was a pretty good, nice experience with the connections Josh had. So a lot of Josh.
Yeah, shout out to Josh Joseph. If he watches, I think he's seen our show a couple times. But shout out to our favorite Florida alum, Josh Joseph. He's a good work buddy of mine. Deployed with him to Afghanistan. Great dude, love him to death, like a big brother, man. And he's a big dude. But we also got to we reconvened, our rivalry a couple times. I got to see him when we beat Florida in 22 at Neyland, and then I went with him again last year down to the swamp and watched the Joe Milton show play out. So he's got photo evidence of me being really down, like bad down. But he did treat me to a good time, great tailgate, and his treat, Airbnb, and he took me to Cracker Barrel and fed me before I had to get on my flight and go back. So what a guy, great American, great Gator. And I know that's really bitter for me to say, because I don't necessarily believe that there are great Gators out there. Outside of Laura Rutledge and Josh Joseph, I hate all Florida fans.
Shout out Brady Quinn. Shout out Josh Joseph. He looks exactly like Brady Quinn. I just remember that. I was like,
yeah, I mean, but Josh is probably 5 inches taller than Brady Quinn. Yeah. Josh is like 6'4" or 5", dude. He's freaking huge, man.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I haven't really experienced a hostile environment. I've just experienced very drunk environments. I've been to Rutgers game. I've been to Penn State. Like, I think those are all-time drinking colleges.
Oh, dude.
The stuff you'll see, men, women, old people, children, you can't unsee some of those things. So I won't say it's nasty, but it's like,
sure,
you got to be prepared for what's going on around you. It might not be directed at you, but you could take some strays from eruptions around you. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily nasty personally to you as a away fan, but it's a dangerous place to be. Penn State game, night game, those kind of things. So
I would say, you're talking about drunkest games. I think I sent you guys a picture a couple weeks back of one of the drunkest games I think I've ever been at. It was the Tennessee Georgia game last year. We're gonna share that picture at some point on this show. It might even be my my background for the first week of the college football season, or maybe the week that we're going. We're prepping for the honeymoon, or excuse me, the bachelor party for our eligible bachelor, about to be ineligible in a few months. But I've never seen the amount of drunkenness or intoxicated, inebriation, whatever, as we saw during that very boring game outside of the first play. All-time epic weekend. There's a lot of stories that came out of that weekend. I think from that to losing a dog in the streets of New York. I mean, there Naveen being the clutch the bounty hunter There's a lot of stories that we could hash out. Unfortunately, a lot of it is inside. But I think there is a good time and place where we could talk about some of those things once we get further removed from the emotions of it.
Cool. Switch gears here. So we got some college football coach rankings that came out. Josh, do you want to talk to this while I try and pull it up? 1 second. So maybe.
Yeah, man. So, there was coaching rankings that was sent out by this guy, CBS Sports, Tom Fornelli. Man, I'm kind of speechless. Like the disrespect that just continues to plague my boy Josh Heupel. I'll give you a guess. Naveen, I know you've not really looked at it, but if you had to see where they rank Josh Heupel, where do you think they put him?
Okay, so is this list full all the conferences or just SEC?
It's a Power Four, the new Power Four conferences.
Somewhere around 10, I would guess.
No, this list is going to piss you off, Andy. You got any thoughts on where they've got him?
Probably 20, 25 range. I would guess they probably just looked at the Joe Milton record and just kind of like, oh, this guy's like a 7-5, 8-4 coach type of thing. That's my guess.
Well, they did drop him. They had him kind of higher last year. They dropped him in the poll this year. But no, Naveen, they didn't have him nearly as high as you would think, right? But Andy, you're spot on there, brother. They got him at number 23, and I think that is extremely low for Josh Heupel, because I mean they got fucking Eli Drinkowitz above Josh Heupel at number 21. Here's the one that pisses me off the most: Mark Stoops. They have Mark Stoops at number 20, with 5 spots ahead of Kentucky, or excuse me, of Josh Heupel at Tennessee. Mark Stoops is winless, even with Joe Milton, is winless against Josh Heupel at Tennessee. How does this moron, what is his name again? Tom Fornelli. How does he have Mark Stoops ahead of Josh Heupel? They even got Sonny Dykes. What the fuck has Sonny Dykes done at TCU except getting his ass blown out by Georgia in the national championship game? That would put TCU and Sonny Dykes over Josh. I mean, I really don't know why they have Josh so low. Is there any reason that you could think of? Let me read some more coaches that they have in front of Josh. Okay. That you would just be like, why? Jeff Brom, former Tennessee coach Jeff Brom. He was hired for one day and let go. So Jeff Brom, I would say Dave Doran, also former Tennessee head coach. They got him at number 16 at NC State. Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Lance Leopold, Kansas. James Franklin, Penn State, number 11. Lincoln Riley, number 10 at USC. Dan Lanning at Oregon. What has he done in 2 years at Oregon? Nothing. Mike Norvell, number 8, Florida State. Kellen DeBoer at Alabama, number 7. Kyle Whittingham, Utah, number 6. Sarkisian, Texas, number 5. Here's the one that I think that really chaps my ass. Brian Kelly, number 4, LSU. Dabo, number 3. Ryan Day, number 2. And Kirby Smart. I can live with Kirby. Kirby's been dominating.
Okay, Josh, re-rank it. So what would Heupel be in your eyes?
He's easily top 10 in my eyes. He's ahead. He's definitely ahead of Dabo. He's definitely ahead of. I'm talking about just since he's been at Tennessee, and he's beat Dabo head to head, right? So there's there's data to kind of point to. So to me, he's better than Dabo. Dabo doesn't believe in the transfer portal, and we're going to see those guys kind of spiral into chaos. I think they're gonna go downhill really quick. So Clay Klubnik he's a fraud. He's a joke. So Clemson, I don't expect them to be any good at all this year. I think they got them at 9.5 wins projected. I doubt they even get to 7 wins. So Dabo, he's better than him. Brian Kelly, what's BK done? Except, lose to Josh Heupel. We went in his trap, took over his trap. And look, what else has he done? I mean, he produced a Heisman Trophy winner, right? But we all know how I feel about the Heisman Trophy. It's a joke. It's a sham of what it used to be. He's also kind of the Dabo opinion of we're not going to buy players in the transfer portal. Well, guess what, Brian Kelly? You don't want to buy players in the transfer portal? You're not going to win football games. Newsflash. You're not going to win football games. So Lance Leopold at Kansas? No. Josh is better than him. But if I had to go with my top 10, I would say number 1 is Kirby. Number 2, I'd have to go, I guess the ones that are current. I'd probably have to go probably Lane Kiffin at number 2 right now, just what he's been doing. And I hate to say it because, I hate Lane because of, the history that we have with him. And then I'd probably sprinkle in some Dan Lanning a little bit. I was critical of him, but I mean, he's done okay at Oregon. Josh Heupel sprinkled in there. I wouldn't say he's number 10, but I'm saying he's in top 10. I'd have to really, really do an extensive laydown of kind of records, head-to-heads, and all that good stuff. But, Hype Dog's got to be in my top 10, probably even my top 5. And that's just not me being a homer, because when you look at it holistically, look what Josh Heupel inherited at Tennessee when he came in 2021 and what he's been able to do. He won 7 games his first year, 11 games his second year, and he won 9 games last year. And he had like almost 30 dudes transfer on him out of his program. The program was basically putting sanctions on themselves because of the Jeremy Pruitt thing. We limited ourselves opportunities for recruiting, for visits, all those things. And he's been able to win in spite of all those things and win at a pretty high level. Last year we had some stinkers, but we all know why that is, and it's because of our quarterback play. Now, one would probably argue, well, if you blame your quarterback play, well, who's putting the quarterback out there? Okay, Josh Heupel. Yeah, I got it. But just, I guess the whole body of work, I have to give Josh the nod. Now, I would knock his back to our episode last week when we talked about, his win-loss record on the road. He's definitely got to have improved that to get higher on the Mount Rushmore of current college football coaches. If you want to be considered elite, you got to go win in somebody else's place. He's done that a few times, but then there's some other ones that are just kind of head scratching. But this whole Eli Drinkowitz, get the hell out of here. There's no way you rank him ahead of him. There's no way you rank some of the other boobs that are on that list ahead of Josh. So let me get y'all's thoughts. You probably had enough time to really look at the list. So Naveen, if you had to rank your anywhere from top 5, top 10, do you have Josh in there? And tell me why or why not.
Yeah, so I think my major concerns with Josh is the away records and I don't know. Performances in big games has been pretty decent, I would say. Like some home games he's done really well. Like, they pretty much only lose to Georgia and like one other team a year. I think they probably overreacted to going from 10-2 or 11-2 to 9-4.
9-4.
Yeah. I do think that If I was Josh Heupel, after you lose to Florida, put in Nico. I think that's my main thing for last season. Like, fuck it, right? If you're gonna lose to
I
Florida,
mean, I think that's what all three of us were calling for that. I know we didn't have a show back then, or we weren't, doing this, but within our own group messages on the WhatsApp, we were definitely calling for Joe to be benched.
yeah, I would say the list that's most jarring for me is Mark Stoops, number one, probably the most ridiculous entry. Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, like I think he's really bad. Can't score 25 points a game.
Look what Josh did to him.
Yeah, it just embarrassed him with Nico.
Like in the Citrus Bowl, like what just happened?
Yeah, and I'll kind of go down here. Like Luke Fickell at Wisconsin does jack shit but lose to good teams. Like very bad. Like these are just egregious things. I will disagree with you on Mike Gundy. I think for what he does, he covers tremendous amounts of spreads, and he is a pigeonhole to like always getting the worst recruits of his conference. I think now that Texas and Oklahoma are gone, like we'll see more out of Mike Gundy. He produces winning teams when oftentimes they shouldn't be. So I think he probably coaches.
I don't know, man. Like I agree with what I agree with. He's probably doing more with less. I'll agree with you there. But as far as like seeing more from him now that Oklahoma and Texas are in the SEC, I'd probably disagree with you because I think that the recruits that he already wasn't going to get from them being in the conference, that already works against him. But then if you add on the kids that are in that area that want to play in the SEC, now they have that opportunity. So they're going to still go to Texas and Oklahoma, and they're probably going to go there at a bigger rate. So he's probably going to do way less or with way less. So he's going to win less with way less.
That's fair. I would say Penn State, James Franklin. He's probably one of my least favorite coaches.
Mandy boy.
He sucks at decision making.
Yeah.
So I don't know why.
Look at this past year's Michigan game. That's all you got. That's all you got to look at, man.
Yeah. I will say his top 10 isn't bad outside of that, except for Brian Kelly.
Kellen DeBoer? What the fuck has he done?
So Kellen DeBoer,
like what has he done?
He's made the playoffs a couple times with shit teams and shit conferences. So I think that's
was Kellen there the first time Washington made the playoffs? Because I don't think he was there.
Okay, I'm not sure on that. I know at least one time.
The only time he got there is because Michael Penix showed up. Like Washington was ass outside of having Michael Penix.
Okay,
so you give him 1 year.
You're talking about 2016. That was what's his name?
2016.
Chris Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson. Exactly. So to my point, why is he above Josh Heupel? Just because he made the playoffs this year?
Yeah, probably.
I would say that's probably the only reason. The base logic there is he's national runner-up.
Yeah,
first loser.
And
I guess that's
pretty solid.
That's pretty
solid reason, though.
That's much better than Josh Heupel's doing, right? Like,
yeah.
I think.
No, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just saying that that's the reason. But let's say you take that away, I don't know that he's a better coach. But here's the beauty of that. He's going to be able to come to Knoxville this year and get his ass fucking reamed by Tennessee and get exposed. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Alabama, not just at Tennessee, which I've called my shot on this one. I think it's going to be a double digit. And there's other talking heads out there. Shout out Clay Travis, most recent that I've seen. He agrees. Tennessee's going to, big boy and put a double digit dub on the Tide this year. But I'll tell you, Kellen DeBoer, I doubt he makes it to year 3 at Alabama.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And then just reading what this guy wrote about Dabo Swinney, I just don't understand the 3. I guess he's crediting history a lot.
2 national championships.
Yeah, so he's probably biased there, but
what has Dabo done since 2018?
Not much, but the one thing that this guy said is there are 4 teams that haven't accepted an incoming transfer this offseason. 3 of them are service academies. The 4th is Clemson. So it's like he's stuck in he's stuck with the service academies, not accepting transfers, and we'll see how long that lasts. And yeah, he might make a Saban-esque exit quite soon.
Well, I don't even think it would be Saban-esque, because at least Saban made the playoffs, and I mean he had a decent last year, you know. And what, Saban won 6 natties at Bama?
Yeah.
Won at 6. I think that's right. Dabo's got 2. Dabo refused. It's so hard for me when I look at Dabo, and I don't want to go down the rabbit hole just on specifically on Dabo, but he is the outlier. Like, on what planet does he think that Clemson is going to be competitive without getting players from the portal? He said, literally, he was quoted this week in an interview saying that the players in the transfer portal are not good enough to play at Clemson. And then when I think about that, it's like all the players that have been coming out of the transfer portal. Let's see, last year's Heisman Trophy winner, Jaden Daniels. Where did he come from?
Arizona State.
Transfer portal, right? Year before that, who won?
Georgia.
Yeah, transfer portal, right? Who won? Who won before that?
Georgia.
No, I'm talking about the Heisman.
Oh, okay.
You had the kid from USC that won it with it. Caleb. Yeah, Caleb. He was transfer guy. Year before that was what?
I think Devonta Smith, maybe.
But Bryce Young.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young.
Okay, so he was true to Alabama, but then you look before that, it was Smitty, true to Alabama. Then before that, it was Joe Burrow. Right? Transfer portal. My point is, there are a lot of good players that are coming out of the transfer portal, right? Most all the great players are coming out of the transfer portal because that's how they are getting paid. That's why they're making the money grab while they can. While you know, it's still kind of the wild west of this NIL deal, right? All the good players are going into the portal. So I don't know if it's like Clemson just doesn't. Oh, they have the money. I would imagine they have enough, you know, old timers there that have deep pockets to throw at their NIL. But Andy, what are your thoughts, man? Like, why do you think someone like Dabo, in a program that's kind of been good over the last decade, you know, air quote good, they've played in a weaker conference in the ACC, you know, and they've won a couple national championships under Dabo's leadership, but not wanting to change with the times. You know, as a Tennessee fan, it gives me kind of Philip Fulmer vibes, you know, the last 3 or 4 years of his coaching tenure at Tennessee, where he didn't really want to change with the game, and the game kind of passed him by. And that's just an X's and O's. We're talking about a fundamental shift in the landscape of the way that we recruit in college football, and this guy just refuses to change. So, what are your thoughts?
A convenient excuse. I think that's really what it is. He doesn't want to get into the game, and he doesn't want to utilize the transfer portal and not win, you know, the conference, not win the, you know, natty, whatever. And it's a very convenient excuse to point to and say, hey, I did it the right way. Oh, we're gonna stick to this. And you know, if he doesn't win the conference, if he doesn't win, you know, if he doesn't make the playoffs, fine. He's just gonna continue to say, oh, college football is turning into this game of, you know, free agents and money. It ruined the game we all loved. Like that's really it.
Yeah, it is strange. And he also has like the weird rule of like, if you commit to Clemson and then if you visit another school after you commit to Clemson, they pull the offer. It like, I've never seen someone just so, I guess, into themselves as a coach, like I've seen from Dabo.
Yeah, I mean, one interesting thing is Clemson basketball does transfer portal all the time, and they're doing way better than Clemson football.
Sure,
like,
I mean, like, even this year they made a run, right?
Yeah, they went to Elite Eight, and they, you know, it's about resistance to change with the times, and we saw it out of Nick. I think we with Lane Kiffin, we see the polar opposite of Dabo.
Yeah, he's killing it.
He's crushing it. He's like, all right, this is the new normal. Like, let's go. We have the money. Like, let's spend it, right?
I'd argue even Tennessee, and not to be a homer about it, I'd argue even Tennessee is on the cutting edge. I mean, I think we do a really good job in the transfer portal, and we use our donor money appropriately.
Yep.
Look at Nico.
Yeah. I think you get what you put into it nowadays, and he doesn't have as much to offer than any other school, so he will start to lose these recruits for sure. All right, so I'd like to transition to our last topic of the day, which is the NBA playoffs. You gonna give me the sound, Josh? Give it.
Let's go, T-Wolves. Game
All right.
7.
We were dead. We were dead, boys. Like games. What was it? Games 3, 4, 5. Just disgusting performances.
Ugh.
But then we resurrected a little bit in game 6. Great to see. The one thing I was scared about is Jokic like watching the game standing up. Like I've never seen him pissed, but all fourth quarter he was standing like away from his team, just like observing how I'm losing. That was wild to see, but really, really great performances on Thursday night. We got 2 game 7s. So we got Knicks Pacers game 7. I feel like
we got some New York love over here. I'm seeing it in Andy's background here.
So yeah,
Knickerbockers.
So this weekend is full of that. We got Mavs and Thunder, also pretty good series, like low key, probably the series that people are not talking about as much. But Andy, let me get your thoughts as the resident NBA guru here. Like, what are you excited to see from the Knicks? What are you excited to see from Wolves and game 7s?
Wolves, Nuggets. I think you guys are overplaying this, like Jokic being mad or whatever. Like, he can stay mad all he fucking wants to, but ultimately, what's he gonna do? If and
he's gonna play like he did in game 4 and 5.
Yeah, maybe, or he's gonna get wrecked like he did in game 6 or game 1 and game 2, right? Ultimately, the game plan. Yeah, game plan really comes down to you can't stop, a generational superstar, but can you shut down everybody else? And that's what Wolves were able to do when they had Conley. And with you see the big difference, when he's on versus when he's not. So as long as he can hold down the perimeter, because you're not gonna stop Jokic. Like he's gonna probably get a triple double, and like there's nothing you can do about it. But can you limit the other players? And I think yes. I mean, Nuggets, like they're a good team, but I think the way that the team's constructed is not as solid as the last year. And I do think the Wolves can take it. Good chance. I hate that it's in Denver. I think like had they just defended the home court in one of the the first two home games, that would have been like exactly how we talked about game 6. Bring it to your home and just close out.
You gotta win it in 5 or you're gonna lose in 6. That's what I think. That's what it means.
It's like game 6. Like had they just won one of those first 2 games at home, game 6 could have been a nice closeout. Now it's going to Denver for game 7.
Big sweat on this.
I think that Anthony Edwards watched our show, and when I made the statement that he wants to go win it in game 7 on the road and just do the suck it celebration in front of all of the ball center. I think he's going to go drop his balls in game 7, and T-Wolves going to move on to the next round.
I mean, damn, this should be the finals. Like, fuck, man.
It should be.
I don't want to watch any other series. Like, when I go switch on Knicks and Pacers, it's like, shit, this is like,
it's really mid. Level. It's really mid, right? Compared to
I'd say the most mid for sure is Boston.
Yes.
I've never seen a more boring fucking team that's supposed to be super elite. yeah, that's gross. We'll get to see a good game in Mavs tonight. Mavs Thunder. Like you never know who's going to win that game. I think it should be in Dallas today, right, Andy? So hopefully we'll see Mavs close it out and play Wolves. Game 7. So
Who do you want to play if the Wolves are to make it? Do you want the Thunder or do you want the Mavs?
Oh, dude, I want to see the
Mavs.
Thunder. I want to play Thunder. I think we have better matchups for Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
What's a better series? It would
the
be
Mavs. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kyrie, Luka.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I want to see a better series. I don't want to just flip on the game, that tips off at 10 o'clock because we're on the fucking East Coast and just, by the second quarter.
Yeah. I mean, for Naveen's sake, I hope the Thunder make it.
Sure.
But from a fan perspective, like Mavs, Wolves would be the matchup.
And the good thing is, like, you can just nap during the Eastern Conference game, just so you can make it.
It is a snoozer.
Yeah.
The NBA least.
Yeah. I mean, that should be a good series. Any thoughts from you, Andy, about Knicks Pacers game 7? Like, I feel like it's just the home team is going to win.
You going to go down? You going to go down 7th Ave and just lose your mind, Andy?
I'll go check it out.
Yeah, if they win, just like watch from afar. Like maybe go to the post office and see like what the fuck is
that. Maybe I'll just stick my head out the balcony and just kind of check it out so that I keep my distance from the swamp that's gonna turn into. But like it looks like a home team wins. Typical Dibs issues, right? Like you play the shit out of your stars and they get fatigued, injured. So
if Tibbs was the coach of Tennessee baseball, there wouldn't be a question, Josh. Like who's gonna start? It's gonna be
the
ace. Ace every time.
Yeah, dude.
Tommy John surgery be damned. We're gonna use all the gas in those arms, baby.
It's sort of funny because he has like such an injured team that the only way to play is his way. Like there's no depth. Like who cares about depth when like you got 7 guys out injured?
That's right.
So that's just funny, and I think that it all ties back to how you deal with coaching. But I think those are our topics for today. Any closing message, Josh, for our fans?
No. I just think I had some things that I kind of had wanted to queue up, but we'll save them. We'll see what the fallout is on some of these more polarizing news and noteworthy things in the world of sports. So I'll save my comments for then. So we'll use that as a little teaser or cliffhanger if things develop further. Okay. We're basically talking about my boy Butker, the guy that kicks for the Kansas City Chiefs. A little bit of a hot topic. We'll see how that thing rolls out, and if it continues to burn at such an alarming rate and there's some fallout from it, we might discuss it. But against our better judgment, I think we're gonna pause for the calls on this one. But anyway, I would say that it is going to be a great day to watch some college baseball. So tune in and watch the Vols. Hopefully get the brooms out and sweep up the Gamecocks. It'll be interesting. I know that my boy Chase, big time baseball fan, especially for those Gamecocks, but he's doing his little rodeo stuff this weekend, so he wasn't able to hop on. Lucky for him, he was kind of indisposed prior to us being able to do this show, because I would have eviscerated him, especially after the 7th and 8th innings of last night's game, because those fucking morons thought they actually had a chance. Really, they realized very fast that they did. So brooms will come out. NBA playoffs, man. T-Wolves. We got to do it. We got to close it out in 7, go on to the next round. Hopefully we're playing the Thunder, because that's going to be such a good series. But no, whoever comes out of that Thunder or Mavs, I think T-Wolves have got it. It doesn't matter. Again, Scotty Scheffler, shout out to my man. Even though we do back to blue, I would say, Scotty, you did the right thing. Hats off to you, man. Class act. Vandy fans, well, we're going to Nashville this year, so I might come drink a beer with you because you guys are nice. And then, of course, I think we all agree that we hate Georgia, and I haven't had to experience Ohio State fans, so there's that. College football rankings of head coaches. Check that out again. I think we did a really good job of hammering home some good key points. And then again, I think we're going to try to shake some stuff up next week. We might try to go live. So just stay tuned for that. Especially to our boy Slim Jimmy, who's our biggest fan on YouTube. So shout out to you. Shout out to all of our listeners, subscribers. We love you guys. I know that this is the dog days of summer when it comes to the sports calendar. So stick with us, man. We're really trying our best to give you some up-to-date and fire content. But the only way that we can get better is if you leave us some feedback. Tell us if we suck, if, talking about this, or maybe refrain from talking about other things. Just let us know, man. But for all of Lucky Top Sports, I'm Josh. Andrew, Naveen, we love you guys, and go Vols.
Go Vols.